Abuseni como our channel so aha age politics abadi podcast also training me specific headlines ne jemre na ini bi exomo ni dim ne honrak simu we sok se yenko amanyu simunim na Kevin Taylor atimi expose NPP amay kono efa aye good border se aboka no ho na wonua be sok se yimu ran simunim na yenhwen sema hodoa aye Kevin Taylor atimi ehwe du ho ai ho be hia se meno mienu gede bi etue kutubiem efa sa nsensem no aha age politics abadi yemon ransom for
wo munye sika free na mo chichire man no ende ye kwan obebia Kumasi Accra Express Road ye see hospitals ye electrification busa mo say omunye sika way because we all know say right now the cocoa sector they are now doing reforms to get it back on its feet into yenye sika way it is Goldbod and then the NPP cannot stand because Mahamudu Bawumia cannot make any statement because the question will be simple. The Goldbod that was introduced by the NDC is savvy or minor. He has nothing to say because he was given the opportunity. He connived with the criminals. They stole our money through gold for oil. But this is a situation a government comes, a president comes, puts together Goldbod, and our economy is now sustainable. The question here is, who are Ghana now? Busa I want to say this free. In Ghana, GRA. GRA. From GRA. How many people pay taxes in Ghana? 6 in 10 businesses fail to properly account for VAT. So we 10 companies in Ghana, 6 businesses, omuntumimpo enka se VAT we, ya JVAT, sikani nye, ya bede, ya diskani ma amaino. Intibusa sikani free. Most of us, our businesses don't pay taxes. Into the sudden change, our economy will grow, our jumeba, our sikana jana national. But I will say free. It is the introduction of the Goldbod. The amount of money almost we are pumping into the system through buying gold for Bank of Ghana. Into men, you what you say. Sikabi magically free baby bow. It is the inception of Goldbod. The way diligently they are doing the job, buying the gold, protecting the gold, guiding us, making sure they protect our environment, stop illegal air smuggling, and when they are bedruha into the NPP, they have take notice. Omunim say, so we can try to Sami Jemfiso, be creating pressure be Sami Jemfia Boka. No. The Goldbod is saving you and I. We are businessman. Nende, utu quite 3 weeks now, but it is because of the introduction of Goldbod helping the Bank of Ghana to do what? To get money for us to get dollar to protect our economy. Realistically, 10 out of 10 business, 6 out of 10 businesses in Ghana, if you have a country where 6 in 10 businesses, how can you build a road? How can you build a school? How can you do all that you are doing? Keep the lights on. It is because the Goldbod is making a difference. Oma tenase. The omo yana deliberate. Omo said that 1992. Kanembe no kre katro jandam. It's not working. Now, may go back to the Goldbod matter. Now, if yanko eyiniso, the issue itself. Yes, Sami Jemfi. Goldbod Naboka. Now let me tell you something. When it comes to taking decisions to save a nation's economy, say who ufie na say opa say ufie no say be to me keeping na there's something we call it should come with costs. Now when I say it should come with costs, there's a difference between costs and loss. Costs and losses. So what do sika bibim with the mentality says sa sika na udi shemu no at the end of the day or say a yield the results bia that moment sika na udi shemu no it is your cost. Now when you want to revamp how gold is mined, you want to get a lot of revenue from gold that you to know Ghana. It's not just saying somebody Goldbod. No. So be one okay say be a Goldbod. You need something we call a drastic action. You yourself, you need to feel the pain. Now, if you say Goldbod Aboka, let's say it's also Goldbod Aboka. Now, in the report, it shows clearly Goldbod technically were working for Bank of Ghana. If the Bank of Ghana had a problem with Goldbod, they would have stopped Goldbod from doing what? Buying gold for them. But the Bank of Ghana did not do that. The Bank of Ghana was still doing business with Goldbod. Because Goldbod can only be effective when they get money from the Bank of Ghana. Now, that report now, IMF Troy and the NPP are rallying behind it. Some report, the IMF was basically saying, you cannot come out with Goldbod and decide to make drastic decisions to bring in revenue without having costs involved. When you put together Goldbod, so what's Goldbod? How is it going to be effective? Say Goldbod Jessica or Bank of Ghana ho. That's what I say. Did drama Bank of Ghana? Anybody can do it. Send a PMMC ho and Baumia at the intina over $15 billion like Goldbod. It is because the cost involved to make sure you seal the loopholes for Bank of Ghana to understand and have confidence in you. It comes with a cost. It's a cost. Now, I'm sure the difference are what is making the NPP struggle to understand the report of the IMF. Now, when you take your time and ask yourself these two questions, the simplest way to understand it, costs. Like I said, cost. What you give up to achieve something. I will explain something to you. And like I said, loss, when what you get back is worthless than what you put in. In Tiagas Obia Boka, meaning say, or the Sika Koshe Jumebim, and or the 10 million Koshe, no, Sika about back near 1 million, Waboka. Now, like I said, Costa. Sika odisha bibim ana de odisha bibimwa. At the end of the day, no, you achieve something bigger. Meaning, no matter how you look at it, you need to invest if you really want to make revenue. And it's a Bank of Ghana, any Goldbod, I catch up said the Goldbod, technically they have made more money for Ghana, but NPP for said no. Goldbod has made a loss because they are trying to put together costs and loss. Now, some people say yes, simple, but I say at a point in our life, not a team like Manchester City, no more we need trophies. A team like PSG, no more we need trophies. Why do you think today Manchester City is one of the biggest clubs in the world? Because Arab before the team, no, they told themselves, we want to be also seen as one of the greatest teams in the world. So what did they do? They had to put money. So they had a plan. But before that plan can work, we need an expensive coach, Guardiola. We need expensive stadium. We need to put money in and do what? Rebrand the team. We have to make sure every player we buy is an expensive player. What Man City management did was that they knew to be part of one of the greatest teams in the world, to win Champions League, to win World Club Championship, to be recognized, it comes with a cost. It comes at a cost. Without you putting in, because their target was that they wanted to win the Champions League. Their target was that they wanted to be counted as one of the greatest teams around. Their plan was that they wanted to have a good coach. Now, it comes with a cost. Even though at the end of the day, say, cost, idea, say, yield the results, then that cost can never be a loss. Now, Manchester City, etamusika, and of the share, a team. The idea was that today's cost should yield something better. Now, we are talking about Manchester City from nowhere has become one of the greatest teams in the world. Now, how many Champions League the Manchester City have? So many of them. Do you know how much money they got from it? How many Club World Championships the Manchester City have? So many of them. Do you know how much money they made from it? Today, you cannot poach a Manchester City player because you need billions. Now, the cost they put in building the team, has it become a loss or it has become what we call something positive? At that moment when they were putting the money in, it was a cost. Now, Manchester City have made so much money that some of the 5 billion Shema today, the end game is that they have made 20 billion. Are you going to say, when they were spending, when the cost was going on, you are going to say they made losses? They didn't make any loss. So when you want to change something, you need to understand, a cost needs to happen. And that cost is not a loss. And then as Sammy Bank of Ghana, I'm explaining, IMF for Ghana for Ghana to bring in Goldbod, for Goldbod to make a difference, we need a cost. It comes with a cost. It comes with technology. It comes with, so the gold buying, Bank of Ghana giving Goldbod money to go into the system. It's not just going to work in the system and buying gold. You need to make sure, nobody can steal gold from Ghana. You need to make sure the smuggling stops. You need to make sure every gold that you are buying is legitimately mined. You need to make sure the system, people are doing the right thing. It comes at a cost. Why didn't PMMC do it? Because they didn't have the mind. And so because you say, Goldbod Aboka 1.7 billion. Sami Jeffibekacho said, no, that was a cost. It's administrative cost. Meaning, you would need that to get to the $15 billion. There's nowhere that anybody can sit, any economist can sit and say Goldbod has made losses. Goldbod made 15 billion. Let's say Goldbod, Sasika must say 1.7 billion, any 15 billion. How did we arrive at 15 billion? It is because of the cost we put in there. So when you are recording the books, Ghana, Goldbod Aboka, 1.7 billion. The fact of the case is it was a cost. And until from the beginning, Goldbod Kacham said this is an administrative cost. Because before you can get the 15 billion, you cannot just say it. You just have to make sure you put things in place. Into who in your right senses, one in him answer because say Goldbod Aboka. Today, the Black Stars of Ghana, we want to win the African Cup of Nations. How are we going to do it? The GFA needs to commit to a coach that is expensive, experienced. When that coach comes, he might want a backroom staff. We need to pay. That coach might come and say, you know something, the turf that we are using, we don't have any stadium in Ghana, our pitch in Papa, we need to put him. That thing we do is a cost. It's a cost because we want to arrive at a point. Now, when we are not able to arrive at a point, then you can tell me it's a loss. But the cost should be able to propel you to win the African Cup of Nations. Into coach the Nations Cup. Now, after all this cost we put into it, pay him so much money, giving him a backroom staff money, build it. Now, say, winning Nations Cup. Now, Sasika spending war, making sure he wins the Nations Cup is 6 million. Now, the Nations Cup near winning $10 million. Near to us, call Air World Cup near winning $30 million. Will you call that cost as a loss? No. Into the NPP are struggling between loss and cost. And then Momoka say IMF say by Goldbod Aboka, the Goldbod has not messed up any money. Because you can say introduce Goldbod, that just said yeah. Now PMMC or say you want a Goldbod here. Why is Goldbod doing something different? Because the things they are doing, it is geared towards something positive. In the end, Sami Jenfika Betmakacho say, I've brought in over $15 billion. Not everybody can bring it in. Why? Because at a cost, we've been able to achieve this. At a cost, you will achieve what you want to achieve. Unless somebody catch them say, Sami Jenfika $300,000 spent by and the cost 1.7. That I can record as a loss. But as we speak, the cost at the end of the day has achieved 15 billion. So why do you say it's a cost? It's a loss. It's not a loss. But on say NPP for Jimmy. The NPP are stupid. They be telling us Jimmy, social media for, radio for. They are stupid to the point they don't understand the basics. But these are things that you want to do politics. In terms of and the Sami Jenfi Baya or it's not about the law, so it's about Sami Jenfi Muade. I don't know, Kasa Champion can Kwasian Penisa, Nafenoma can Nimyansa, so Nya Kwasia or a lawmaker or Nimyansa, the kind of words he used in his press conference. You see. The NPP is stupid. Jimmy. So there's no loss here. It was a cost that needed to be able to get to the point where we wanted to get to. And the Goldbod umbrella 15 billion and over because of that cost we put in. And from day one, administrative cost can never be a loss. When the administrative cost is not less than what? The outcome, it is never a loss. Now, the administrative cost is less than the end game, what they got as a result. The administrative cost, if even it is 1.7 billion, then through that administrative cost, we have 15 billion. So where is the loss? It's a simple question. And Debiano, we went on a break. I was watching, listening to people, and you can see there are so many people on TV, radio, with Jimmy, they don't know what they are talking about. Even the statement from the IMF report, it was clearly telling Ghana for say, you know what? To achieve this, it needs to come at a cost. And that is where we are. And it's also 1.7 billion against 15 billion as the end product. Why do you call 1.7 billion a loss? Because let's say $15 billion, you enter 1.7 billion from it's still profit. So say Goldbod catcher will say, I'm gonna make it profit. Goldbod has made a loss. That jandam is not working. The idea of the NPP, Afenyo say, to be good from him. It doesn't work like that. Go back and take your time. Analyze the situation. Into the Sami Jenfi Kano. That is it. He has made profits. Let's give it to you people. Sami Jenfi and Bank of Ghana. At the end of the day, the market they were in the market they went into to buy the gold. They made a loss of 1.7 billion. Now they made a profit of 15 billion. Now take 1.7 billion from 15 billion. You can't tell me a loss is in here. So they are struggling to differentiate between loss and cost. What they did, in fact, if I could get the team, I wish I could. Team, I wish I could bring a document, but every good thing comes with a cost. And as far as at the end of the day, the end result is greater than the cost, there's no loss. Anything IMF could not explicitly say, Goldbod and now Bank of Ghana making loss. No, because they wanted to get to a point. And then the explanation of that total, example, you buy a car for 100,000 Ghana cedis and spend 10,000 maintaining it. The 10,000 is the cost. See explanation. When you buy a car for 100,000 Ghana, now with the 10,000 and maintaining car, it is a cost. Now, if you later sell the car for 70,000, you have a 30,000 loss on the purchase. Now you understand. So what they did, what the Bank of Ghana, at a cost, if they can get enough gold, it comes at a cost. If they can get enough revenue from the money, Bank of Ghana, it comes at a cost. That cost, you cannot say it's a loss. Anytime we're bringing it down all the way to a Black Stars level. Anytime we're bringing it down all the way to Manchester City level. Into now Manchester City by the Arab money. The Arab money that came, basically they put somewhere a bit to me, I yielded that result. Intende, one of the biggest clubs in the world, over Manchester City. I didn't know about Bolton. But the issue is because people cannot, NPP, you cannot mix costs with loss. You can't do that. You can never do that. And that is what they are forcing into the system. Where in the document and a Bank of Ghana maniska or no way. Bank of Ghana maniska, and they made sure that somebody with enough gold about it should come at a cost. How do you do that? If you're going to trace the gold, if you're going to employ, if you're going to make sure that you are sane and it is done legitimately, you're going to make sure people are not smuggling, it comes at a cost. So that administrative cost is not a loss. That is what actually yielded that end gamer, 15 billion and over. No? So get that right. And the kind of moment here, a Juma and this in this is solid. Yeah, as far as the Goldbod is in existence, the NPP can never come to power. Oma try bibia and say no more AXA and omo jampo ba a petition. They don't know where to tackle because omo ba omiano wa bon na yiri disledge. Dr. Sledge now to don't go now they can 97 million. Omo ba omiya no or disledge but omia does not have brains to think. We need to get these things right.
We and some of the team course or channel so. Only mamma so jemre that's an so bad near the media. Ever saying issue.